Hey everybody, welcome to Mainely Movies. Here today, coming to you from Comic-Con, or from an Airbnb near Comic-Con, with a special guest here. So we've got Leo from Geekly Goods. So definitely be sure to head over to his channel after the video and check it out and subscribe and look at all of his content. He's got plenty of Comic-Con stuff coming to you as well. But today we are going to be talking about a panel that we saw this afternoon for The Walking Dead. So we've got some big news from The Walking Dead. This is obviously the very last season here for the regular run of the show. Season 11 Part C is coming out. We've got 8 episodes to go coming in the fall. And so we have some big news, some interesting things that we saw. Leo is going to have some interesting takes, I think, because season 3 was the last time
season 3 or season 4, whenever they left the prison. That's the last full season I've seen, and then I've seen little clips here and there. Spoilers, haven't seen much else though.
So a lot of these people were obviously very important to him seeing, so I mean there was a lot of kind of question and answer Q&A panel stuff going on, a lot of tears from people asking questions, some tears from people on stage, but we had a whole crew of people up there. Chris Hardwick was doing the moderating, but we had Scott M. Gimple, Carol, so we had Melissa McBride, we had Josh McDermott, we had
Norman Reedus,
Father Gabriel, Mercer was there, Judith was there, so
all the main cast of this last season.
Yeah, Greg Nicotero was there as well, so makeup and special effects. So a lot of people up there. What did you think of the Q&A side of things?
So I really loved how passionate the fans were about this content. Like, people were really approaching from a perspective of having watched the show for 11 years, nonstop, being very dedicated, and they were getting very emotional, very choked up. It was like so enlightening to see, and even though I don't follow it that closely, it was still something I could very much relate to. Being a big Dragon Ball Super fan or a fan of Spider-Man like I am, I could just relate to that and how much they really love this. I mean, they were saying it changed their lives, it got them through tough times, and I think we can all relate. I mean, everybody that attended SDCC, we all have these fandoms that we just are so attached at the hip with. So it was enlightening to see. It was great to see how passionate these fans are for The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, Walking Dead's one that I used to be much more into years ago.
Same.
But I've still stuck with it, and I'm caught up and everything. But yeah, I mean, this is people's lives. They are super passionate about it. And there were a lot of people choking up, asking questions. There were people talking about their families. There were people who came with questions from family members who weren't able to make it out to Comic-Con.
That was so beautiful.
There was one woman who has been a fan since the beginning, and she says she's come to every Comic-Con and has never been able to ask a question, and this was her time to finally ask it.
So good for her.
Yeah, and so lots of emotion from that side, but lots of emotion on the stage too. I mean, they were going through and talking about their favorite scenes over the course of the last, 11 seasons. Chris Hardwick was choking up towards the end. He was struggling to finish it off. So definitely a lot of. It was nice to see. It wasn't a ton of new stuff, new content in the beginning. We have some big news to talk about, but it was the fandom side and just the impact that the show has had on people watching it and the people who created it and were such a huge part of it for 11 years. So the big news. Well, two major things of big news, I would say. So we'll start with the one that had already been announced, and that was Isle of the Dead. So that is going to be a spin-off series featuring Maggie and Negan. And so Maggie and Negan, the actors, were not there today because they were actually off filming this show currently. So they weren't able to make to the panel, but we got a little tiny bit of information on it. So it's supposed to be a New York City set show. So that's interesting. They're making their way north.
Yeah, changing it up a bit. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
Get some different settings in there.
And so you're familiar with both those characters, though. At least up to
Maggie
a point.
for sure. Negan not as much, but I know a lot from spoiler clips, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan is great. So I'm definitely looking forward to that series because I just think they're two of the strongest characters, and then who we're going to talk about next are two other strong characters. So I'm like really, it's weird that I'm not caught up, but I'm super excited for the spinoffs, even though I'm behind. I think that's one really good move with these two spin-off shows is that you can bring people back who may not have gotten that far, or make people circle back around and complete the show so they can prep up for these spin-offs. So this is a perfect time to do it, and I think this is a great idea, and our next one I'm hyped for.
Yeah, so the big news, and we were kind of suspecting it a little bit. They were kind of dropping some hints throughout the panel. There were some questions during the Q&A that they were like, oh, we're going to ask something later. Well, we'll see. They were mentioning a bunch of people, a bunch of characters that had left the show for various reasons over the years, and they very suspiciously left a few names off when they were mentioning those people. So we figured there was something big coming. But we have another spin-off show that's going to be coming next year, I think they said, right? So next year. And so we are seeing the return of two characters that I think fans of the show have been missing for a little while here. So Rick and Michonne are coming back in a spin-off. We have a six episode spin-off series that's going to be kind of looking at their closure, I guess, for the series, and kind of what happens. We know that Rick left a couple seasons back under pretty pressing circumstances, and Michonne, she's been kind of. We know she's kind of off somewhere, but sort of MIA for the last couple seasons here. And so we know that those two are going to be together on the show, or finding each other and then together on this spinoff. And actually, Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerrera both came to Comic-Con. They showed up at the very end of the panel. Again, we kind of suspected, at least Andy Lincoln, I think we both suspected.
Yeah.
But that was pretty good. Got a big cheer in Hall H.
Really good. And yeah, we picked up because one of the actors had said, oh, he named off past actors on the show. And he named off John Bernthal and Steven Yeun and a couple others. And I'm like, okay, you can't name all them off and leave off Andrew Lincoln accidentally. Like, there's just no way you didn't do that on purpose. So as soon as he dropped those names without Andrew Lincoln, without Denai Guerrera, I was like, okay, I know for sure they're going to be here. And lo and freaking behold, guys, the very last thing, and let me make this clear, they kind of wrapped up the panel a few times, but we're like, hold on, guys, like, don't go anywhere. And it was like this really funny, like, almost like stalling to get them out there, but like, it was funny because they're taking pictures with the cast, and they're like, wait, we're not done, we got one more thing, and this was after the Negan and Maggie show announcement, and then they came out. Man, people were standing up. People were getting their phones out. I mean, it was insane. Like, honestly, it was one of those reveals, like, kind of like big if here. I don't know if this is going to happen, but like if Henry Cavill came out for DC, it would be something like that. Like, that's what this is for this fandom. Like, it's deep. Yeah. And so, like, when they came out and I just seen this ocean of people, like, standing up, getting their phones out, like, it's clear that the fandom really wanted this. And even somebody like me who hasn't watched the show for a long time, I still know Rick Grimes.
Yeah, I know. It's Rick Grimes.
So. And I'm like, okay, those characters were great to me. Some of my favorite characters in the show. So, yes, light bulbs going off in my head. I'm ready to go. I want to know. I mean, at this point, if it's going to take place after Rick is gone out of the show, I'm definitely catching up. Like, I'll go ahead and just bite the bullet and catch up on those seasons just for this show alone.
Oh, only 8 to go for you, right?
Yeah, only 8 to go, only 8.
But yeah, I mean, so that's exciting because we've got, we started this series with Rick, and it seems like we're gonna finally get his conclusion, or kind of his, who knows if it's a happy ending or not, but we're gonna see him again and see some wrapping up of that storyline, it seems. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the last 8 episodes. Seems like that's gonna be pretty good. A lot of the favorite moments that different cast members were talking about, they couldn't actually talk about because they said they're in the upcoming episodes.
Dang. Yeah. They can't spoil it for us,
Yeah, so and they had mentioned that there's going to be a video that they showed it at their wrap party. That's 1 second from every single episode, and so they kind of teased that they would eventually release that to fans somehow, but obviously can't because there's 8 seconds of spoilers that are going to be at the end. But it seems like that might be something that's forthcoming at some point. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to, like I said, the last 8 episodes, and then Isle of the Dead, and this. I don't think they named it.
No, there's no name yet.
One yet, but I think that's kind of a good, quick little recap here for the Walking Dead panel. So again, make sure you head over to Leo's channel at Geekly Goods and check him out on social media too for all sorts. He's been going crazy with the TikToks. He's been going crazy with Twitter, Instagram, all of them. So be sure to check him out and subscribe. I'll link him in the channel description. Hopefully you guys were okay with this kind of different format for the channel. Like I said, we are currently in San Diego in an Airbnb, and so I'm not going to have like the normal closing stuff that I usually do for the card. But anyway, this has been Mainly Movies and Geekly Goods. Leo.
Thanks, y'all.
See you guys later.
Be sure to subscribe to Mainly Movies too if you're new. Hit that sub button, y'all. See you later.
See ya.